behind me, please. Nathan. Welcome once again to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia Sports. Mike Wofford with you here on this Saturday morning. And yes, the old blind guys working here from that standpoint, trying to get things working going here this morning. Got to push the right buttons here. Thanks for being with us here on your family radio station in North Georgia and your home for North Georgia Sports as we bring you high school, college, and pro sports here on the local scene here on 97.5 Glory FM. Last night we tipped things off for the last day of the month of January with high school basketball. What a great matchup we had in the Region 8 AAA play with East Hall taking on Cherokee Bluff in the home of the Bears. In the girls' ball game, it was back and forth as it was Cherokee Bluff leading by 12 points at halftime, and then it was the Lady Vikings outscoring Cherokee Bluff by 12 in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth and final quarter all time. And then it was Cherokee Bluff coming out on top by a final score of 62-57. You'll hear from Coach Cassie Scott, the head coach of the Lady Bears, in just a few minutes here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Plus, we'll be talking with Brandon Shabath, the Director of Athletic Communications for the University of North Georgia, talking about a busy day at the University of North Georgia up in Dahlonega. Also, we'll be talking to Brandon Whitesides, the host of our brand new program, Hooked on Lanier. We'll talk with Harper LaBelle, his co-host, but we'll talk football with Harper LaBelle this morning. We'll wrap things up previewing our college basketball game today with Georgia State taking on Appalachian State from Boone, North Carolina. Dave Cohen standing by live in Boone, North Carolina to talk about that this morning on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. And the other game last night in our broadcast had a matchup of 1 versus 3 in the Class AAA rankings in the state of Georgia in high school basketball, with East Hall, number 3, taking on number 1 ranked Cherokee Bluff. And this one also went back and forth last night as we thought it would. And it came down to the last basically 2 minutes of regulation with East Hall coming out on top, winning that ball game by 7 points, 80-73, the final over Cherokee Bluff. And with that, East Hall takes over sole possession of first place in a way because the tiebreaker with Jefferson, as the Vikings now are tied with Jefferson, but they have the advantage in the one-loss record over the Dragons by beating them earlier this season. So it's East Hall number 1, also Jefferson number 2. Now Cherokee Bluff drops to number 3 in the region with 2 games left on the regular season schedule. And next week on Tuesday, it will be East Hall playing at the arena at Jefferson, while Cherokee Bluff goes to Rome on the road to Oconee County. Then on Friday night, it's East Hall wrapping things up at home against West Hall, while Cherokee Bluff plays at home against Jefferson. Now, on Tuesday, if the East Hall boys win, they will be the number 1 seed in the upcoming Region 8 AAA tournament with an automatic berth in the state playoffs. Then it comes down to the game next Friday at Cherokee Bluff between the Dragons and the Bears to decide who will be the number 2, number 3 seed in the upcoming Region 8 AAA tournament. And we'll start the tournaments coming up a week from Monday with the high school basketball region playoffs starting. Then we'll have the state playoffs later in the month of February. So February is here. Talking about March Madness, I call it February fever from that standpoint because there's a lot going on right now. Every game is so important. Other things happening today, for example, down at Cherokee Bluff, they are having the Region Wrestling Traditional Tournament with the winners advance on to the state finals down in Macon, while up in Dahlonega, there's also wrestling going on that took place yesterday with the Lumpkin County girls playing host to the Traditional Girls Championship. And last week it was the Lumpkin County girls taking home the duals team championship for the Lady Indians, winning the wrestling championship for their team. Also today, there's baseball around the area. There's teams getting ready for the upcoming baseball season, which begins next weekend, believe it or not. And there's just some scrimmage games taking place today. Flyer Branch has a game. Cherokee Bluff has a game. West Hall has a game with their new coach, Zach English, and a lot going on with high school baseball. Joe and I will not start our coverage of high school baseball for another month when we start region play in the local area with the teams in Region 6 AAA and with 8 AAA here in our local area. So there's a lot going on. The transition of high school sports action, soccer is gearing up, and a lot going on when it comes to high school sports, college sports. Today, the Senior Bowl is taking place, and former North Hall and University of Georgia standout Dan Jackson, he is playing in the Senior Bowl today, and the word is right now that Dan might be drafted by an NFL team in May in the lower rounds. It'll be interesting to see how Dan plays this week. He was the player of the week, according to the social media post that I saw this morning. And so Dan Jackson, watch for him today on TV at the Senior Bowl game with the outstanding seniors from college football playing today one more time as a collegiate. And really their first game as a pro. They'll be getting paid for the game today. And then we'll see if anyone drafts Dan. Right now there's an excellent opportunity for him to be a defensive back for somebody in the NFL coming up this fall, at least to go into training camp during the summertime. Basketball, we're gearing up to the last 4 to 5 weeks of the regular season. We've got 3 more broadcasts of Georgia State basketball before we start March Madness with the Panthers. Today, Dave Cohen will be in Boone, North Carolina as they take on Appalachian State. And then we'll have 2 more games next Saturday and the following Saturday before we wrap things up here on 97.5 Glory FM before we get ready for the Sun Belt Conference tournament down in Florida. And so a lot going on. We got high school sports going on with high school baseball, basketball, also with soccer going on. Then college has got baseball is just starting up also with college basketball now gearing into the last month of the regular season. And we got the NFL with the playoffs. Now next week will be the Super Bowl 59. And Harper will be able to talk more about that during the show this morning. We've got lots more to talk about. Coming up next, we'll talk with Coach Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff. She'll join me coming up after this timeout as you're tuned to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. Well, once again, we got wrong button pushed. We'll try it again here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Well, it's just not going to work, is it, from that standpoint? So we got much more coming up here as I'll back up and punt, as they say from that standpoint.
Your source for elite residential and commercial services since 1982. Our licensed plumbers offer services for installation and repairs of pipes, water heaters, septic lines, and such. Choose conditioned air systems for quality service and unmatched knowledge for your plumbing needs.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
And we're back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
Here I am
Here on 97.5 Glory FM, your radio station for North Georgia sports, as I try to get things going here again. And nothing's working for some reason. Try that then. I have to see what's going on with my computer here. But anyway, we're going to go to the phones now and talk with Cassie Scott, the head girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff. Hey there, Coach.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, Cassie. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So I'm glad to see you're up this morning. I used to have to get Josh Travis, the boys coach. He had to set an alarm to join me here. So I'm glad you're up this morning.
Well, I have little ones, so they're going to make sure I'm up. So I was up and ready to go this morning.
Well, I am glad you are. So last night I had a chance to talk to you and talk with Claire Carlson also about the game last night with Cherokee Bluff. Let's talk a little bit about girls basketball right now. And we were talking last night with Josh Travis about really how good boys basketball is right now. Tell me about really where the level of girls basketball is here locally in your mind.
I think locally, I'm not originally from the area, so I didn't know what it looked like in years past. But for the time that I've been here, I think it's growing. I think it's expanding. I feel like the old school competitions that people talk about are being brought back to life. So it's a fun, exciting time. It's just making sure we keep that same energy on the girl side that the boys are and make it a good time in Hall County.
Right. So you came in from California, if I remember right? So how's basketball different here in Georgia where you were out in California?
It was a little different. I will say Georgia is a different animal in all aspects, sports-wise, facility-wise. California's got it too, but it's just a different dynamic out here in Georgia. And I'm also originally from Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas, played in Texas. So there's a lot of similarities, but you have your slight differences of, size being one of those things. There's some size here that I have never seen growing up. So it's been a great experience, and I love it. I love Georgia basketball and what it's come to be.
When you say size, you mean size of the players or size of the schools and the gymnasiums, that kind of thing?
Size of gyms, size of schools. I was just talking to my assistant principal last night, and she asked me about my high school gym, if it was about the same size as ours, and I was telling her the slight differences. I said, but all the gyms that I've been in Georgia, they're nice. Like I've never been to a gym that's not a nice facility. And then players. I mean, I got to figure out what we feed players out here so I can get my daughters on that same diet and make sure I'm raising some 6-foot-plus girls on my end.
Talk about that, the talent of your ball club, too. Last night you were missing two of your big players last night and still come up with a win.
We did, and that's something I'm proud of. Obviously, Bristol Kirsch is a key piece to what we do. Emery Jones is a key piece to what we do. So for our girls to battle through that type of adversity, just going into the game and come out on top, was a big deal for us. And it was a big deal for them, too, to understand that we can win games without those players. Not we need them in all aspects, but it was good for the girls to step into roles that they're not used to quite stepping into right away. I tell my girls all the time, you never know when your number is going to be called. So you got to be ready to go, and these past couple weeks has been that for us. So we found a way, and I'm proud of them for how hard they played.
Talking to Coach Cassie Scott, the girls basketball coach at Cherokee Bluff. Last night the Lady Bears defeated Esau. You heard right here on 97.5 Glory FM. You heard her at halftime of the boys game talking with me along with Claire Carlson. Really enjoyed talking with Claire last night. Wish we had more time to talk with her. And the thing is that the role that she had to play last night, I'm used to seeing her hit a lot of three-pointers, but did a great job at the point guard spot.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to get her. She knows she can run that spot, but I'm trying to continue to build that confidence for her. She doesn't lack the confidence, but getting her to realize that she can do the same exact things that Bristol Kirsch can do and get other people shots, and as well as get herself the shots that we need. So she really took that last night, and I told her last night, I said, that was probably the best game you've played as far as not shooting from the outside, but attacking the paint, creating shots, rebounding. I mean, she had a double-double last night with 21 points and 11 rebounds. So that's huge for a guard. And she just came out ready to play, understanding her role, and she did what she had to get a W.
We mentioned about you coming from another state into our local area. When you were in Texas playing ball, did you see the kind of crowds that you saw last night?
We did, but it was dependent where you went. It wasn't necessarily within your own region. Over there in Texas, we call it district. So you had your typical district rivalries and games people come out to see, but it's been nothing like here that I've seen with region and, linear land and those type of fields. So it's been a great experience.
How does that kind of support that you see like last night, how does that affect the girls when they're out there playing?
I think it gives us energy and what we need. Oftentimes our girls' games can be quiet, and we have the people there. It can just be quiet, and I think just having those people in the stands and noise, it makes it feel like a ball game, so they want to play 10 times harder because they should already be playing hard because that's the expectation. But I think that just adds a different burst of energy, and anybody would want to play in that environment.
It's amazing how tough this region is with you, Oconee County, with Jefferson. You're playing on the road Tuesday night at Oconee, then you're back at home against Jefferson next week, and you play the two teams that beat you so far this season. What's the game plan to go back out and now get a win this week?
We just got to stay disciplined in what we do. The first time we played both teams, I think just the background noise of how big of the games were and if we can get these and et cetera, we really took a step back in the sense of just taking it one game at a time, focusing on what we do, staying disciplined in our defensive principles, our offensive principles. And I think if we do that and we maintain and we have girls that continue to attack and take good shots, we have a chance. Those are two really good teams that are really well coached. And it's a privilege for me as well to learn from that and see how we can respond to losses. I mean, it's a tough week in a region for us to get both of those teams back to back. So it's another hill we got to climb, and we plan to put our backpacks on and do that.
So we get ready for the region tournament, which is at your place. That's got to be an advantage. Does it matter where you finish in the standings, 1, 2, or 3 in your mind?
In my mind, no. I think no matter what, we all have to compete to get to the region championship. If we happen to finish in third, then we host that Monday night, and then we host the 2 other nights. So it's a great opportunity for us to just play at home regardless. If we happen to finish in the 2 seed or the 1 seed, I think with the 1 seed is pretty secure unless some things get juggled around. But if we happen to finish in the 2 seed, we still face Oconee, and Oconee still faces us regardless. So as far as the seeding goes, there's no big downfall to that to get to the championship. So like I said, just one game at a time. I told our girls not to get locked in on the seeding and just, continue getting W's where we can, and we'll go from there and continue to try to get ourselves healthy.
Hey, final question for you, Cassie, is there like an unsung player that you're looking at now to continue growing to help you out here late in the season?
There is. I have 2. Brooklyn Phillips is she's slowly coming into her role and what I need her to do and understand what she is capable of doing. And Audrey Graham, like I said it last night, she doesn't get quite the recognition she deserves at times because she's not always putting up the big points. But she does a lot of things in the background for us as far as rebounding and diving on the floor and making the extra plays. So those 2 have really come into light for us, and as long as they keep performing the way they have, we have a chance with anybody.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you joining me this morning, Cassie. We'll talk soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Cassie. Okay. That is Coach Cassie Scott, the head coach of the Lady Bears of Cherokee Bluff, as they are in action coming up this week. They'll be on the road in Oconee County coming up on Tuesday. Then they go at home next Friday night as they go up against Jefferson. We've got much more for you coming up next here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, check the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins. You're represented to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
And we're back here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. We go back to the phones now and talk with Brandon Shabath, who is the Athletic Communications Director for the University of North Georgia, joining us this morning. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
Great. About you, buddy?
Good. Doing good.
Another busy day in Dahlonega?
Absolutely. We've got our first baseball games this weekend. So we had the home opener yesterday against Lincoln Memorial, a 9-1 win for the boys, and another good weekend this weekend. So doubleheader today for baseball, and then they got one more tomorrow. So busy as always.
Tell me about some of the new blood that Coach Cantrell's got.
They seem like a really good team, Mike. It's a team that last year I think their final record was 32-19, and it's respectable and was pretty good, but didn't make waves as far as conference championships go and NCAA tournament. They missed the tournament, but I think this year's team really has a chance to be special. They've returned a bunch of guys from last year, a bunch of key pitchers. Almost every piece of their starting lineup last year, as far as their best hitters, is back. They're healthy. So a bunch of key players last year who were injured are back this year. And I think they've got a chance to really be special. The thing about this team this year that is new for the first time in a couple of years is it's led by upperclassmen and guys who have been around for a while. And they looked comfortable last night. They looked confident. They dominated the game in all areas, pitching, hitting, defense, whatever it was. And obviously last night was only one game in the first game of the season. But a 9-1 win's a 9-1 win, and I really think this team could be really good this year.
The weather also helps out, doesn't it, right now? It's good to have a little warm weather for baseball here in February.
Yeah, I mean, with how cold it was for a stretch there, it looked like we were going to be shivering out there and maybe having to move these games this weekend. But thankfully it turned. The rain yesterday delayed a little bit. You know, we were supposed to start at 3 o'clock yesterday, ended up having to go at 6:30. But today looks like it's going to be real nice. So, yeah, the weather's been great.
That's going to be good. So now softball team starts down in Gulf Shores, right?
Yep, they also played yesterday. Again, they were supposed to have 2 games yesterday, but the rain down there as well messed things up a little bit, so they only played 1. They lost a real close one to West Alabama 2-1 in what was a really good game, but they've got 2 more today as well. One coming up at 10:30 and another at 12:45 against Florida Tech, and then Barry later. And then they'll also have 1 more tomorrow. So excited to see that team as well. I think it's going to be different than North Georgia softball teams have been in the past, and obviously it's the first team under Brooke O'Hare, but I think they've got some really interesting pieces, some transfers who could be real good, and I think they'll be fun to watch.
Tell her about the new coach replacing Mike Davenport.
Brooke O'Hare is a really awesome coach, an awesome person. I sat down with her for a long interview as part of our new show, The Hawk's Nest, and that will come out sometime next week, hopefully. But she's got a great attitude. She took a big leap of faith coming here to North Georgia, and you know, she thought she was going to be at Mississippi College for the rest of her life, she said. And the people at North Georgia and this place, and the more she went through the process of interviewing here, she knew that she wanted to be here and make that change in her life. And be the next leader of this program. And I think she's done a really good job already. It's certainly been a difficult task and has not been easy. But I think she's up for it, and I'm really excited to see what she does.
Yeah, think about it. She's only the third coach in softball history.
Yeah, absolutely. And through everything that's happened the last few months, she was late in the hiring process as well. And, through all of this, the one thing she's kept saying is I just want to play. I just want to play. We just got to get out there and play. So I know she's excited that they're finally back playing, and I'm excited to see them. They'll be home for their home opener next weekend, next Saturday, February 8th and 9th. So very excited for them.
She sounds like Buffy, who wants to go out there and play. How about the basketball team today?
They're down in Florida to take on Flagler at 1:30 and 3:30. So Flagler, a pretty good team that they both beat last time at home in the conference home opener a couple weeks ago. So now the conference schedule has reset, and they'll face everybody for a second time now, except for Georgia Southwestern, because that game got postponed and moved to a later date the first time. But yeah, they're down in Florida today.
All right, so how's the men's team done with Flagler?
The Flagler men's team was pretty impressive to me the first time we saw them in Dahlonega. I think they jumped out to like a 19-4 lead or something early, and then our guys just battled back throughout the course of the whole game, took the lead late in the second half, and were able to hang on for the win. But, I think people kind of forget, like, Flagler was in the Peach Belt Tournament Championship last year.
Sure
and that's
were.
who we had to beat on the men's side in order to win it. And Flagler typically is around, like, the middle to upper areas of the Peach Belt standings, but it's usually UNG and Columbus State and Lander and Aiken and Flagler kind of take the back seat to those schools. And it's kind of a similar situation this year on the men's side, but I think they've got some talent, and they're certainly a tough team to beat, and going anywhere on the road in the conference is not an easy task. So today should be no different. It should be two really good games for both the men and the women, and hopefully we can come out with some wins.
So where are the men right now in the conference standings?
I believe they're down to fourth now. The loss to USC Aiken the other night hurts them. That's a really good USC Aiken team that they lost to by 12 the other night, and it felt like they could have beaten. They just got behind early, and were just playing catch-up the whole game, and just difficult to do against a tough USC Aiken team.
All right, what time is the ball game on the Nighthawk Sports Network today?
Today it starts at 1 as the first of our doubleheader, and then we've got the second one for baseball at 5.
All right, so you can go to UNGathletics.com and then go ahead and hit the tab there for the Nighthawk Sports Network, and Brandon will have the play-by-play for you there. Man, I appreciate it much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Mike. You as well.
All right, we'll say go Hawkins from that standpoint. We've got much more for you. Coming up next here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, we'll talk fishing with Brandon Whitesides, and we'll talk football with Harper LaBelle. All coming up next here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM.
Your home is part of you, and keeping it comfortable and well-maintained is essential. Conditioned Air Systems is North Georgia's solution for residential heating, air, and plumbing services. For more than 40 years, our family has been committed to delivering the highest quality service by our certified technicians and plumbers. Experience the difference today when you choose Conditioned Air Systems for your home's heating, air, and plumbing needs. Quality you can feel, service you can trust. Visit conditionedairsystems.com to schedule an appointment.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings, and one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
And back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM. Earlier this morning, we had a brand new show debuting on our station, as it was Hooked on Lanier with Brandon Whitesides and Harper LaBelle. And joining me back again is Brandon to talk about the big show Good morning there, Brandon.
Hey, Mike. Good morning.
All right, so you got your feet wet this morning. You're in the lake there. You get the Hooked on Lanier show start this morning. So tell everybody about the show and what you got up next week.
Well, I think it was really good content. I've already gotten a lot of feedback, Mike, from folks that were listening in. You know, we had the chief biologist of Lake Lanier, who works with the Department of Natural Resources. He came and on the program. He talked about stocking, the rationale. He talked about he educated us on the difference between the fish larva and what they call the fry, and then of course the fingerlings, which is what they actually stock in Lake Lanier. He talked about why stripers need to be stocked on Lake Lanier, and definitely some things that would be of interest to people who are out there trying to catch them. And then lastly, he talked about, and this was news to me, you know, when you think about, like I said on the show, when I think about DNR, the first thing that pops in my mind is the guy who wants to check your boat for safety equipment and see if you got a fishing license, i.e. law enforcement. And he educated us that there's actually 5 different divisions of DNR. Of course, law enforcement is one of them, but then you have forestry, you have kind of like a version of the Environmental Protection Agency. They're in charge of, you know, runoff and pollution issues and things like that, and the list goes on and on. So very informative. We had Marine Concepts Detailing call in. They talked about how to get your boat ready and prevent grime and things like that. Captain Clay Cunningham, who is one of the premier striper guides on the lake, he called in and gave us a couple of tactics and tips for striper fishing if you're out on the lake today and the coming days. And then we had a trailer maintenance company come on, Trailer Works, and they talked about kind of like the biggest mistakes people make when they don't take care of their boat trailer and the consequences. So great content. Mike, what'd you think?
Oh, I enjoyed the show. I learned a lot this morning, and looking forward to be back on there next Saturday morning.
Yeah, same time, same place. You know, next Saturday, we're just confirming content, but I have no reason to believe that this will not be lined up and people will participate in terms of call-ins, and that would be the law enforcement side of DNR. We're going to have them on the line. We're going to have at Perry's Outboard, High-Tech Outboard, master mechanic. He's going to talk about, okay, if your boat's been sitting all winter, how to get it ready for the spring from a tune-up standpoint. And actually, one of the things that I'm most excited about is we're going to have the founder and developer of one of the hottest new bass baits that's on the market, a local manufacturer. Yeah, called Spot Choker. So we're going to hear from them, and then a couple more exciting topics. So I'm excited, Mike. What about you?
I'm very excited. Of course, everybody can go to our website, to our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports, and you get a chance to see this morning's program with Brandon and Harper and hear the different guests they had on the air this morning. A very informative show and entertaining, and you'll get inspired to go out there on the lake and be a part of what goes on at Lake Lanier. That's Hooked on Lanier every Saturday morning at 6:05 with Brandon Whitesides and Harper LaBelle. Looking forward to it, Brandon. It's an exciting time.
I think so too, Mike. And one last thing before you let me go is, okay, well, what am I going to do today? Well, unfortunately, the honeydew list is growing, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get out on the lake today, but that's okay because we have some incredibly warm and unusual temperatures coming up for the next 3, 4, 5 days for February, so my fishing's probably going to happen Monday or Tuesday. We heard from Clay that the water temperature should creep up gradually, but the bait schools, compared to last week, the bait schools have moved deep. So if you're striper fishing, even bass fishing, you might want to check the middle of the creek channel out toward the mouth because the bait schools supposedly have moved deep. And like I said last week and the week before that, as it relates to the schools of bait that are down there in the water, if you find the bait, you will find the fish.
Hey, put on teaser. That's your tip of the day there for Brandon Whitesides, the host of Hooked on Lanier. Talk to you next week, buddy. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
You too. Be blessed. That is Brandon Whitesides, who is the host of Hooked on Lanier with Harper LaBelle every Saturday morning at 6:05 on 97.5 Glory FM.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Bushton, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings, and one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/blackandblue.
The experts are saying that it's going to be another tough year for the flu. Last year it started in October and lasted until May. It's never too early to get your flu shot, and you can stop by Riverside Pharmacy and get yours today. The pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy can not only give you your flu shot, but if you get the flu, they can fill your prescription. They'll even deliver them in the Gainesville area. You can depend on Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
And back at the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM as we bring you the information you need for you and your family with the most positive music in North Georgia. Hopefully we'll talk with Harper O'Bell here and Dave Cohen here the rest of the show this morning here on 97.5 Glory FM. You can always give us feedback. You can go to our website and, let's do this the best way. Go to our email page. Send me an email. We'd love to get your feedback. Email me at mail@wgtjradio.com. That's mail@wgtjradio.com. You also can send a text message to me, and our text line is 678-928-1826. That's 678-928-1826. Or you can call me here at the station and let me know what you think about the program at 770-297-9797. This afternoon at 12:45 p.m., we bring you the Panther pregame show. Tip-off at 1 o'clock of college basketball as Georgia State is in action in Boone, North Carolina, as they take on Appalachian State this afternoon right here on 97.5 Glory FM. As we bring you the very best in college basketball. Again, we're down to the final month of the season before we get ready for the Sun Belt Conference Championship starting on the first week of March, as March Madness is just around the corner, and Dave Cohen will join me later on this hour here on 97.5 Glory FM. High school basketball next week here on 97.5 Glory FM. We'll bring you the game between Lumpkin County and Chestatee on Tuesday, starting with a pregame show at 5:45. Tip off the girls' game at 6 and the boys' game to follow. Right now, the Chestatee girls are in third place in the region after they defeated Dawson County last night. A big win for Sutton Shirley's team. And the standings right now in Region 6 AAA, you have Pickens number 1, White County number 2, Chestatee is number 3, Dawson County is 4, Greater Atlanta Christian is 5, North Hall is 6. Then in 7th place, you have the girls from Lumpkin County, and then in 8th place is the Johnson Lady Knights, the teams there in Region 6 AAA. In Region 8 AAA, you have Jefferson, Oconee County, and Cherokee Bluff, the top 3 teams. And thanks to Coach Cassie Scott joining us here this morning to talk about that region and what's going on with those 2 teams and the three teams there in that region. And so we'll have as much action as possible for you coming up the week of February the 10th when it comes to the high school basketball region and state playoffs. We'll tell you much more about that later on here on 97.5 Glory FM. I think he's ready to go. He tells me he is. Let's go to our line here so I get our new technology going here. I know he's thrilled about that. See if I get Harper O'Bell going here. Harper, are you there, sir? He says he's there, and I am not getting him. We'll see if we get that. Try it one more time. I don't think Harper can hear, at least I cannot hear Harper. So let me try this. Harper, if you would go again, give me a phone call, and I'll get you going on the air here in just a minute, okay, friend? and we'll go from there. We're going to work on this, working on our new technology here at 97.5 Glory FM, and we'll have that for you. Coming, we hear a great new sound with Harper a little bit later on, and so I'm going to get Harper to call me, and then we'll get him on the air here talking to me about the NFL football season, as it is the NFL Super Bowl championship coming up next week. And Harper, you would call on the landline, please, at the station phone number, and we'll get you on the end there. Get him there with that. And again, next week it will be the NFL championship with Super Bowl 59 taking place, with Kansas City taking on Philadelphia. And Harper's going to tell us more about that here on 97.5 Glory FM. I got him on the phone here now. Let's get this going up, and there he is. Hey, Harper.
Hope it was worth the wait, Mike.
We'll get the technology figured out here with a lot going on from that standpoint. Hey, first off, did you enjoy the fishing show this morning?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I didn't enjoy waking up at 4 o'clock, but you know what? I better get used to it, right? Because that's when everybody else is getting up.
I do it on a regular basis. I'll be glad to give you a wake-up call.
Well, I drove by and the lights were on, and I knew someone was home there at the studios. So I decided to pull in, and me and Brandon, we had a good time and great guests. So we'll see how it turns out. But what a market, an untapped market, really. So thank you for giving us a forum to express ourselves and talk a little bit about something that a lot of folks care about.
All right, so tell everybody right now where you're at. You're being dad right now, and baseball season is around the corner, right?
Yeah, but okay, so I had a practice. I told you after we were done, I said, I am going to be probably on the road, but they moved the practice back. I don't know if it was weather-related or whatever, but I was supposed to be about 9 o'clock heading out for my son Daniel's practice, and it moved back to noon, so I'll be leaving a little after the time we get off the air here.
Okay, so you got time to talk football then. So what do you think about the big matchup between Philadelphia and Kansas City?
Well, my heart was rooting for the underdogs in both the road underdogs, and I thought, Mike, you and I, if we scratched two nickels together and gone to Las Vegas and said, you know what, I think Washington is going to be playing in the NFC Championship in Philadelphia, and you would have said, give me the money back. I'm not going to bet on that. So for obvious reasons, it was a long shot, but congratulations. Philadelphia, offensively, they are a juggernaut. They can score a lot of points. They can score quickly, and they can score over 6, 7, 8 minutes. So that's one thing that I've found about the Eagles this year that's completely different than the way they've been in the past.
Great point there. The question is, you see, I saw one social media post. It's interesting. You got two coaches at one time were on the hot seat, especially the coach of Philadelphia. People wanted him gone a year ago. And then you've got Andy Reid, who used to be there at Philadelphia, and now has just done something special with Kansas City.
Well, I've said ever since I played in Philadelphia that, it's just a matter of time before you get booed off the field. And Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl, was being booed off the field within a year, and 2 years afterwards he's gone. And so Philly fans are very they have a short-term memory, and it usually is hot dog wrapper. You roll it up into a ball, and you just want to throw it at somebody. And they've got just that mentality. They ran Andy Reid out of town, and all he did was take him to the championship game. He did lose one Super Bowl, but boy, has he had success in Kansas City that is really unrivaled. I mean, I know Belichick's looking around going, wait a second, I think I've got to get another chair to have somebody sit at this table because I'm not the only one there anymore. So Andy's done a great job and a chance to make history.
You just said there, buddy. Could the Kansas City Chiefs be the New England Patriots of this decade?
Yeah, I've got a friend who is from New Hampshire, but by birthright he is a Boston fan. So Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox. So he can't stand Philadelphia for whatever reason. He likes New York more than he likes Philadelphia. However, if there's anything he likes less, it's Kansas City. And their chance to break all of the Patriot records over the past couple of years. But the most important is to be, really a historical maker there and be the first to three-peat. No one's ever done it. In my time, I think we saw the Dolphins do it They win 2 in a row. The Cowboys run 2 in a row. They were furious that they didn't win that third or get the opportunity to get the third.
Yep.
But it's such a few and far between. This is really congratulations. Obviously, even though they weren't my team that I was rooting for, you've got to respect and appreciate all that Kansas City can do.
Who has the best defense? We don't know about the offense, but who's got the best defense?
Well, I think aggressively you would say Kansas City. You know, you see Spagnuolo just racing around all the time and yelling calls in, but I think I have a quiet appreciation for Philadelphia's ability to just slow the pace down and let their offense take over. But they've obviously improved their defense from what it was last year at this time. Remember, they lost like 6 games in a row. They backed into the playoffs. They lose quite handily against Tampa. And I really think as an edge, they've used that all year long to say, we're never going to let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And to their advantage, and now they're 60 minutes away from being Super Bowl champs.
You mentioned about not happening again. Don't you feel for Buffalo?
Oh, my gosh. So, the Dolphins that I mentioned, remember in the 70s, Mike, you and I are both old enough to remember the Colts had a great team. Then the Dolphins had a great team.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, the Steelers. The Raiders snuck in. They were second place almost always. They'd lose in a championship game.
Yep.
And you throw in Denver every now and then. But the Steelers, for obvious reasons, well, who's going to beat them? How would you feel if you were Cincinnati back then, or if you were San Diego? You know, you just had to get better. And I feel for, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and obviously Buffalo, just in the AFC, and Miami, throw them in the mix. What do they've got to do? What changes coaches-wise or from a roster standpoint in order to be able to compete at that level? It's going to be very difficult.
Next, we're going to talk to you about your experience with Super Bowl week, what you have seen and what the players go through in getting ready for the big game. You know, it's amazing. You got these 2 weeks getting ready. I'm sure it's a time to get your body healed, but at the same time, you go through a lot getting ready for the big game, don't you?
There's quite a few things that you have to make sure are taken care of, that you get a little bit of help on, but not much. Your family, your parents, for example, or aunts and uncles, brothers, sisters, best friends. You want to accommodate all of them. Everyone wants a piece of your time, and how that all gets manifested into you still get to focus and play the game that you need to play. Not easy to balance all that, Mike. Absolutely not.
So you can afford a ticket. I know you going to the game. You think
Well, again, those 2 nickels that we were going to
yes.
put down on that and about 2 million others will get you enough to.
Isn't it insane the ticket price now?
I still have 2 tickets from different years in my house, different part of the house. I have them kind of encased. I've used it as an example in speaking engagements for schools and some other folks. But I think the price on one of them was $175, and I think the other was $225. It might be $250. I'd have to go back and look. But the face value has dramatically changed. The league knows it, and so do the scalpers. It's probably $3,000 or $4,000 just to get in the building.
I think I heard the other day it's like $7,500 just to get in the
Okay.
building. Is that amazing? Yeah. I mean, it's just like the average fan like you and I. There's just no way. And everything's relative, but it's like, the NFL, what are they going to do to let people like you and I be able to see a game in the future besides TV?
Well, thank goodness it is semi-free on TV, but, I said the same thing a couple of weeks ago during college. How does
Yes.
anyone go to that second or third round playoff game? And I heard one guy says, well, I'm just going to open up a bunch of credit cards, and I'm going to let them go and expire each one of them and then figure out how I pay it off later.
Very good from that standpoint. All right, buddy.
You're going to have to bundle the loans. But,
Yeah.
have a great day, Mike.
Great job this morning.
And I know Dave's out there.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week, okay? Great job. Thank you very much.
All right, see you later.
That is Harper LaBelle, who's the co-host of Hooked on Lanier, and, of course, with us, our football expert here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, as he said, we'll preview today's college basketball game with Dave Cohen. He's in Boone, North Carolina. It comes up next on 97.5 Glory FM.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
On-time service and experience matter for your home's heating and air system. For more than 40 years, Conditioned Air Systems has been North Georgia's solution for residential HVAC installation, maintenance, and repair. Family owned and operated, we deliver the highest quality service on any brand and model with no hidden fees, promising 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Comfort you can feel, quality you can trust. Visit conditionedairsystems.com to schedule an appointment.
5 minutes now before the top of the hour here at 97.5 Glory FM. Let's go on the phones now to talk to Dave Cohen in Boone, North Carolina, as Georgia State takes on Appalachian State this afternoon. Hey, David.
Good morning, Mike. It's a glorious morning in Boone, North Carolina.
How cold is it there?
It's been in the upper 40s, low to mid-50s.
Oh, balmy.
Had a nice walk to downtown Boone yesterday, and it was 54 when I left the hotel, so it's not bad.
Steep walk?
No, it was right through campus, right into downtown Boone. So yeah, able to navigate.
Uphill both ways, from that standpoint there on the mountain there in Boone. So hey, big win back on Thursday for the Panthers in the first road win of the season.
Well, you talk about a basketball team that was desperate to get a road win. The only win that Georgia State had away from the Convocation Center was back in November, late November, the day before Thanksgiving, when they beat Tulsa down at that Jacksonville Classic, which we had right here on Glory 97.5 FM. The road had not been kind, especially in the Sun Belt Conference, but got off to a great start up in Huntington on Thursday night, led that game 51-37 at halftime. Had to hold on at the end, but Malachi Brown and Tenari Lane calmly hit their free throws, and Georgia State got a little revenge. That's the first time that's the first time I've gotten out of Huntington with a win, but held on for an 85-81 win over Marshall, which was really, really sweet.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play basketball too. As you said, get down there with a W is a big there at Marshall from that standpoint. So the day Appalachian State. Tell me about the Mountaineers. It's the first time you played them this year, right?
This will be the first time. They're 12-9. They're 6-4 overall at Sun Belt Conference play. Home's Convocation. Although we have won here before, this is another tough place to play. They're 7-3 at home this year, and interestingly enough, they lost a close game to Old Dominion this past Wednesday night, 78-77. So you can look at it two ways. Sometimes it can be a little tough to come into a building where a team has just lost a close, frustrating game, because they're going to look to bounce back on their toes. But if Georgia State comes out and plays like they did in the first half at Marshall on Thursday night, I have all the confidence in the world that the Panther big men have really been playing well. Cesar Edwards and Nick McMullen. Malachi Brown's done a pretty good job running the floor, and Tenari Lane has been knocking down his perimeter shots. So we're going to need a little bit more of it today up here in Boone.
And you had 3-point defense also the other night. But they did hit, 12, 13 3-pointers in that game the other night?
Well, they hit 12 against us 2 Thursday nights ago in Atlanta. I think the other night it was, I think they ended up with 10.
Wow.
So, our 3-point defense can improve. But here's the thing, Mike, and this is one thing Jonas Hayes and I were talking about. It's easy for the radio guy to mention, we got to get better in 3-point defense. But a number of those 3-point shots that Marshall hit on Thursday night, they were in transition. So, you've got to hustle back on defense, get set, and then try to defend the three. And that's really, really tough to do. And that's how a number of their threes went down the other night.
All right, Panther pregame show there at 12:45, right?
12:45 with you on Glory 97.5 FM. WGTJ will tip it off from the Holmes Convocation Center at 1 p.m.
All right, but talk to you then. Have a great day. Go Panthers.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Let's get a W. We got much more for you here throughout the day. Again, college basketball coming up today, taking place at 12:45 a day, and tip-off will be at 1 p.m. That's a Saturday morning sports show on 97.5 Glory FM on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. Thanks for joining me here on this Saturday morning on 97.5 Glory FM.